Hallelujah, hallelujah, throw a nickel on the grass, save a fighter pilot's ass. Hallelujah, hallelujah, throw a nickel on the grass and you'll be saved. Oscar Brand, that's where that tune came from, Nickel on the Grass. A lot of new aviators and non-military aviators had never heard the term before, nickel on the grass. Well, that's what it came from, that body old aviation tune written and performed by Oscar Brand and sung around squadrons worldwide. Today, sadly, we throw a nickel on the grass for Lieutenant Colonel Mike McCoy and his wife Heather, who lost their lives when they aerodynamically stalled their AT-6 aircraft while attending the under-the-wire fly-in at the Flying V Ranch near Louise, Texas. Mike, being a very experienced pilot, fighter pilot, warbird pilot, AT-6 pilot, reminding us all that this can happen to any of us, especially if we do anything dumb, dangerous, or different. The under-the-wire fly-in is a fun family fly-in event featuring primarily Stearman aircraft at a private airstrip, the Flying V Grass Airstrip near Louise, Texas, and it's been going on for years. The Flying V Ranch is located here near Louise, Texas, just outside of Houston, Texas area, and features a 3,000-foot long grass strip. Here's a picture of Mike's AT-6 before the accident. Here's the spotty ADS-B data from ADS-B Exchange, I believe showing several flights throughout the day. And here's one last data point showing 95 knots at 900 feet. Here's some very slow ground speed data points, 73 knots at 600 feet. Here on the left base to the grass runway here at the Flying V Ranch. Now here's the part where I say doing something dumb, dangerous, or different. Now this may have been going on for years here at this fly-in, but you're mixing up two completely different types of aircraft. This is the picture of the actual stall sequence, so it only captures a portion of the stall sequence. But landing to the south here are a couple of Stearman biplanes, one located here and one located here. Mike's AT-6 is off camera to the right here and will be entering the view shortly in the fully stalled condition. The stall speed of an AT-6 fully configured while on a base turn is about equivalent to the full cruise speed of a Stearman biplane. Mixing up these two types of aircraft can be very hazardous. Trying to slow fly behind these slow biplanes can be very dangerous. Besides, these biplanes with two wings put out horrible wake turbulence. 4 sets of wake turbies off of each of these Stearmans, and here you've got 2 of them ahead of you. And if we roll the sequence, we can see the 2 Stearmans coming in, an aircraft on the ground, and there goes the T-6. Did you see the T-6 just off to the right? There he is already stalled. The T-6 typically does brake to the right when it stalls, and it looks like in this case we're looking at the belly of the aircraft in the fully stalled condition. Exceeded the critical angle of attack. It looks like there's an effort to try to save the aircraft, but it's just much too low. There is no saving an AT-6 once it has departed controlled flight from pattern altitude. And I'm afraid it's the mixing of these two different types of aircraft, trying to follow too closely behind these slower Stearman aircraft while slow flying in the AT-6, which eventually got Mike to exceed the critical angle of attack of the AT-6 and stall it in. Unfortunately, this is not the first time we've witnessed this rodeo. Remember Tom Defoe's crash in the Cessna 140 a couple of years ago in Wayne, Nebraska. He was only the number 2 aircraft in the pattern behind a much slower Zenith aircraft. On final, got caught up in the wake turbulence of the Zenith and stalled and spun in. And we covered this accident in this video here just 3 years ago. So I'd like to offer a couple of tips when we put these fun family sort of events on. Occasionally we like to do spot landing contests right here at my hometown airport, where this young man, a student pilot in a Cessna 172, beat me in the Husky, making young pilots better by holding these sort of events. One of the first things to do is to assign somebody to the radio, even though this is a uncontrolled or non-tower airport. You want to keep control of the event with somebody aggressive on the radio, and around here that usually ends up being me. 2, you need to have a thorough pilot briefing, and most events usually have this, a mandatory pilot briefing where all the pilots flying in the event need to attend the briefing before they are allowed to fly in the event, and in that briefing lay down the laws or the rules of how you're going to fly this particular event. And in a case of a spot landing contest, we limit the number of aircraft that are in the pattern at any time to only 3 or 4 aircraft with proper spacing. And we keep the types of aircraft that are in the pattern at the same time of similar type and speed capabilities. We don't want to mix up the fast aircraft with the slow aircraft. And 3, delegate additional duties like scoring or timekeeping or photo taking to other people so the main guy on the radio can keep his eyes focused on the pattern and monitor the situation as things develop. So we want to see these grassroots sort of events prosper and continue on. It's some of the most fun you can have in general aviation and in general aviation overall. If you're wondering about the name Under the Wire Fly-In, this particular grass field at the Flying V Ranch used to have a set of wires running across the midfield years ago, but have since been removed. So do your part to do the best job you can to manage your local fly-in events and pilots, PICs. Remember, it's ultimately up to you. If the spacing gets too tight in the pattern, break out of the pattern and re-enter the pattern and come, or break out completely and come back in after things have settled down a bit. Thank you so much for your support of this channel, especially the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.